Hello. Today I wanted to go over with you all a tool that I found that I think is really exciting and has a lot of potential to transform the way that you run your classes, and that's EdPuzzle. EdPuzzle is something you can use to make videos interactive. You can ask questions, you can have reflective pauses, you can have students create their own videos. It's really exciting, very engaging, and is a great way to have your students get involved with kind of deeper levels of learning, deeper levels of understanding, and demonstrating to you mastery of a given subject. Now, the first thing you'll want to do is decide whether you're a teacher or a student. Basically, the sign up for this is similar for teachers or students. The only difference is one will select teacher, one will select student. So for us, we're going to select teacher. Now, the thing I like about EdPuzzle is it starts you out with a tutorial. Instead of having you sign up and go through that process, you start out with learning how it works. Now I'm going to go over this with you today, so we're going to kind of skip this. And another thing I really like about EdPuzzle is it allows the user to use a single sign-on. Most schools, a lot of them anyway, are using Google Apps Ed, which makes it very easy for a student. They click that, they sign up with their Google username. Or another option that I know a lot of schools are using, I've been using it for a long time, is Edmodo. And that's a really nice, easy way for students to sign in as well. They don't have to remember a different username and password, which, as many of you know, is huge. I already have an account, so I'm going to click Login. I've created mine with Edmodo. And you'll get this little box that pops up that asks you about your connection and connecting the accounts, and that'll go. All right, what we want to look at first is make sure that you can create a class, because that's how the students are going to see the video. So to create a class, you're going to select My Classes. You'll click this little tab here. And once you've created a class, you'll get a class code. And this class code is what you will share with your students. You can send it to them via email. You can post it in Edmodo, you can write it on the board. Whatever you can do to get students to write this code down would be great, because that's how they're going to join your class. You can add additional classes using this tab here. These are just two of the classes that I teach, so check that. And again, I get a different code for each class. As you can see, you can tweet this out, you can mail it, or you can just tell EdPuzzle, I will do this later, I promise. And that is how your students are going to join your class, and that's how they will access your video. But let's get to the fun part first. The nice thing about EdPuzzle is there's a lot already here that you can use. Click search, and you can search for what they call channels, and it's just basically different hosts where you can find videos on a given topic. YouTube is very popular. Khan Academy is another one. Numberphile is one I just learned about. It has to do with math. I know math is kind of gets shortchanged when it comes to interactive video, but I think that Numberphile is pretty interesting. Also, you have lesson examples here that you can use. You can save them. They already have questions. They've already been trimmed. They've already been edited. So they're ready to go right out of the box. If you're not comfortable creating them, you can simply use something that someone else has created. And that's kind of the understanding that goes with using something like EdPuzzle. If you create something, other people are going to use it. And that's really no different than in any class or any school. I know anyone in my department, when we do something that works well, we try and share it with one another because it's best practices. It's what the kids are all about. So I want to search for a video, and I want to search for, you see, I teach world cultures, so let's look for the 5 pillars of Islam. We have 5 videos that have shown up. And these short ones are really good. Having dealt with interactive video before and the flipped classroom just as a concept, students really do best when the videos are shorter, like 5 to 10 minute videos. 41 minutes, you're going to have a lot of kids falling asleep. But that doesn't mean you can't use that video and trim certain parts of it. But just for time's sake, I'm going to look at these videos and decide I want to use this one. Click use it. Now, one thing I'm not going to do today, just because for our purposes, I wouldn't want to take up so much time doing this, is preview the video before you use it. You never know what's going to be in a video in the middle or the end of it. People can add whatever they want on YouTube. YouTube's great, but sometimes what appears to be one thing isn't necessarily the case. You can trim the video here by clicking these little red tabs. You can move it up, you can move it back if you want to get rid of credits, or if there's a beginning to a video you don't want to have on there, you can do that. But I don't really need to crop this, and I don't really need to add an audio track. That's another nice feature that EdPuzzle has, is I can speak and add audio on top of this. So if I wanted to bring in my comments to a video that we were watching, I could. For our purposes, again, I don't need to do this today. You can add audio notes if you want, but what I think is the best is adding the quiz part. So you'll start watching the video.
The life of all Muslims, whether Sunni or Shiite, is governed by 5.
And when you want to add a question, you click Quizzes. Show me how. And you can watch a tutorial on how to do that, but I don't need to do that. Once I've hit the question bar, a question pops up. That's where I can add a question. So I click the question mark, and add whichever question I want. It can be open-ended. Student would answer with an open-ended question. It could also be multiple choice, or it could just be like a reflective pause, a comment that pops up. Hey, you might want to take note of this, write this down in your notebook. Multiple choice is easy. You select the right answer. You can add additional answers. There are also some basic math functions here. So some pretty interesting things you can do with questions. Once you have the question that you want, hit save, hit continue.
The 5 pillars of Islam.
And again, whenever you would want to ask another question, you simply click the question and add another one. Once you're done, hit save and then finish. I'm going to show everyone a finished video here in a second. You have an option to assign this video or share it out. If you, again, are working in a department, you might want to do that so that your coworkers can have access to it. And you can decide then which class you're going to assign it to. Do you want to assign it to World Cultures or U.S. History? Well, this is a World Cultures assignment, so I'm going to select here. Or I can decide, well, I really don't want to assign this right now. It's just something I made, so I'm going to do it later. If you do assign it, you can give it a due date, which is nice as well. But I'm going to assign this later. And again, you come to your content. And your content is where all your lessons are stored. To store these lessons and to organize them, you'll want to create folders. To move lessons to a folder, you simply check the box, move to folder. Now you can move it to a new folder, or you can create a new one. To create a new folder, you just simply hit create, new folder. Give it a tag, Pasquale's World Cultures Videos. Save folder, and then in order to move it, click the video, move to folder, Honors World Cultures, move item. And here I have my 2 classes that I teach, and all the videos are contained therein. For my American History class, you can see that I have 2 videos for that. Now, here's what I think is the most powerful part of EdPuzzle, is being able to monitor student progress. So in order to see if the students are watching your video, if they're answering the questions correctly, click on My Classes. Select the class you want to view the progress of. And here you can see I have assigned a video on the American West. The due date for this is July 29th. So no one's completed it yet, and that's fine. And it's the summer. I don't have any students. But I do want to see the progress on this. This will show you the progress as a class. But if you want to see individual progress, you need to click Progress. A student that I made up, my test dummy, has not yet watched the video. When the student watches the video, depending on how they answer the questions, you can see the percentage of correct answers. You can see which answers were right and which answer was wrong. They give you a grade. Also, if a student needs this reset for some reason, you can do that. As I was saying earlier, this is what I believe is the most powerful tool with EdPuzzle, and the greatest thing about it is being able to see what the students have learned, what they're not getting, and what needs retaught. And this is really dealing with, a core principle of mastery learning is being able to take group instruction and individualize it for that student and be able to look at a class or even individual students and say, this is what they're not getting. This is what I need to hit again. And for me as a teacher, that's need to know information. It's definitely need to know information, what my students are and are not learning. I can go back and reteach it, hit on again, we can watch it as a class, and the students will hopefully then be able to overcome whatever obstacle is in their way. As I said, this is a very powerful tool. Another really nice feature of this tool is student projects. You can actually have students make their own videos, which I think is a great feature. Here, if you click the Create tab, you get a student project. This would involve the students searching for their own video, adding their own questions or reflective pauses to try and demonstrate a specific skill or idea to the class. Again, very, very excellent use of this tool. Now, as far as what the students see and how a student would sign up, that's pretty easy to show you as well. All they have to do is navigate to the EdPuzzle website, or EdPuzzle is a native iOS, Google, Amazon app. Click the app, it opens up. They add a class by entering the class code that you gave them. Click on the class, and they will see what they have to view, the assignments that are there. It'll give them a due date, it's due in 4 days, what videos they've watched, which is nice because they can go back and watch something if they need to study for a test or have an essay to write. Or if you've assigned something coming up in the future, they can see it here. They click on the video starts, and you can see the questions as they go along. The students cannot skip ahead. It will not let them move on unless they answer the questions. And once they're done, you'll get the report. Very easy to use, very user-friendly for the students, and I think a very powerful tool to transform learning in the classroom and something that all students can benefit from. If you have any other questions, please feel free to email me or track me down in the hallway. Thanks a lot. Bye.